Part 1. Why influence matters more than power. Everyone talks about power. Very few talk about influence, the skill that silently builds empires, shapes decisions, and bends outcomes without force. Power can be taken, power can be lost, power can be overthrown. But influence is invisible. Influence is durable. Influence is dangerous because people never see it coming. And no one understood this better than Niccolò Machiavelli, the man whose writings have outlived kings, generals, and nations. He didn't teach domination through violence. He taught domination through understanding human nature with brutal clarity. And here's the first truth he revealed. Men are driven by two things, desire and fear. Control these, and you control them. This is where influence begins. 1. Influence is power without resistance. People resist commands. People resist pressure. People resist control. But people do not resist influence because they don't realize it's happening. Influence works when others believe your idea is their own. Your presence shapes their choices. Your words change their self-perception. Your silence forces introspection. Your actions set standards they follow automatically. Influence is subtle dominance. It is psychological governance. It is power without force, authority without threat, control without chains. 2. Influence begins with predicting human behavior. Machiavelli's greatest skill was simple. He understood what people will always do under pressure. People will protect their interests, follow confidence, seek advantage, avoid discomfort, fear loss more than desire gain, obey consistency, distrust, weakness, admire scarcity, worship, decisiveness. And once you understand these rules, you no longer react to human behavior, you shape it. Influence is prediction. Prediction is control. 3. Influence comes from controlling perception. People don't respond to the truth. They respond to the version of the truth they perceive. This is why Machiavelli emphasized, appear stronger than you feel, appear wiser than you are, appear calmer than your emotions appear, selective even when you are available, appear principled, even when you are strategic. People follow perception, not reality. Influence is the art of sculpting perception until people act exactly as you expect. 4. Influence requires emotional distance. You cannot influence what you are emotionally attached to. The moment you seek validation, chase approval, fear rejection, crave recognition, need to be liked, you lose influence. Machiavelli would call this the downfall of rulers who serve their subjects instead of themselves. Emotional detachment allows you to observe clearly, respond strategically, control reactions, maintain authority, stay unpredictable. Influence thrives on composure. Calmness is command. 5. Influence begins internally. People follow men who know what they want, speak with conviction, move with purpose, remain unmoved by chaos, trust their judgment, radiate internal authority. Machiavelli's core belief. A man who cannot rule himself cannot rule anything. Influence is not built on dominance. It is built on internal alignment so powerful that others feel it without being told. The principle of Part 1. Influence is stronger than power because it survives without force. Influence is the quiet hand on the shoulder of destiny. Influence is the whisper that becomes another man's thought. Influence is the seed planted in silence that grows into obedience without resistance. Influence is the Machiavellian crown worn not on the head, but in the mind. Part 2. The 4 psychological levers Machiavelli used to influence people without them realizing it. If power forces people to obey, influence makes them want to obey. Niccolò Machiavelli mastered 4 psychological levers that allowed him to shape decisions, alter perceptions, and bend outcomes without ever raising his voice or drawing a sword. These levers are timeless. They work in politics, business, relationships, and social dynamics. Here they are, the 4 mechanisms that turn influence into an invisible weapon. 1. The lever of desire. Make people want what serves you. Machiavelli understood a simple truth. Men will always act for their own benefit, so he never tried to manipulate people through guilt or fear alone. He aligned their desires with his intentions. The strategy: make your goals appear to benefit them. Present your ideas as pathways to their self-interest. Show them how your success elevates their status. Let them believe the idea was theirs. Influence flows effortlessly when your win feels like their win. People don't resist you when they believe they are advancing themselves. 2. The lever of fear. Control behavior through consequence, not threats. Machiavelli never advocated cruelty. He advocated clarity. A clear consequence shapes behavior more effectively than rage or punishment. He believed a leader doesn't need to be feared constantly. He only needs people to know he can enforce consequences. Fear must be subtle. Fear must be calm. Fear must be predictable. The formula: quiet boundaries, predictable consequences, respect without hostility. Fear used this way is not brutality, it's structure, and structure creates influence. People follow the steady hand, not the shaky one. 3. The lever of perception. Influence their lens, and you influence their world. Machiavelli's most ruthless insight: people judge more by appearances than reality. So he shaped perception deliberately. Appear confident even if uncertain, appear controlled even if pressured, appear decisive even if unsure. Appear unbothered even if attacked. Appear selective even if available. Why? Because people do not react to who you are. They react to who they think you are. Influence is the art of controlling the story people tell themselves about you. 4. The lever of dependency. Become too useful to ignore, too capable to replace. This is Machiavelli's most subtle lever. He advised rulers to become indispensable, reliable during crisis, the source of solutions, the stabilizing force, the one others return to when things fall apart. Because once someone depends on you, they listen to you. They trust your judgment, they fear losing your presence, they justify your flaws, they follow your lead instinctively. Dependency is the highest form of influence because it bypasses logic and binds people emotionally. The key: offer value they cannot get elsewhere. Once you become irreplaceable, you no longer need to negotiate your influence. They reinforce it themselves. The principle of Part 2: influence isn't luck, it isn't charm, it isn't manipulation, it is the strategic use of human nature. Machiavelli's 4 levers create invisible authority. Desire makes them move toward you. Fear keeps them aligned. Perception shapes how they interpret your actions. Dependency keeps them close. You don't command obedience, you engineer it. Part 3: the Machiavellian art of controlling people. Without direct control, most men try to control others through force, raising their voice, debating endlessly, explaining themselves, chasing agreement, demanding loyalty. But this is not control, it is insecurity disguised as effort. True influence, the kind Niccolò Machiavelli admired, requires none of that. You don't change people by overpowering them. You change people by shaping the environment they react to. This is the Machiavellian art of indirect control. 1. Control the frame, not the person. People argue within the frame you set. If you define the context, you don't need to control the conversation. The conversation controls itself. Examples: if you define what is acceptable, they adjust their behavior. If you define what is normal, they try to fit it. If you define what is valuable, they compete for it. This is how rulers lead entire nations without lifting a blade. Frame is silent power. The stronger your frame, the easier it is for others to fall into it. 2. Influence through scarcity, not availability. People chase what is rare. People neglect what is constant. Your absence, used strategically, creates more influence than your presence. Scarcity triggers anxiety, respect, pursuit, imagination, desire. Your silence is more powerful than your explanation. Your distance is more influential than your closeness. Machiavelli knew this. Men value what is difficult to obtain. Make your energy difficult to obtain and watch how behavior changes around you. 3. Control through calmness. When you remain completely calm, during arguments, during emotional outbursts, during conflict, during disrespect, during chaos, you immediately gain the dominant psychological position. Why? Because calmness signals confidence, certainty, preparation, emotional sovereignty, higher status. Most people use emotion to control. Machiavellian influence uses lack of emotion to dominate. He understood, a man who cannot be agitated cannot be manipulated. Your calmness is a fortress. 4. Control through ambiguity. Predictability removes influence. Ambiguity increases it. When people cannot predict your reaction, your boundaries, your next move, your intentions, your emotional state, they behave more carefully. Uncertainty forces respect. This is why rulers often speak less than they know. Mystery is a psychological leash, not because you're hiding weakness, but because you're managing perception. 5. Control through standards, not demands. You never need to tell people how to act when your standards automatically filter behavior. Standards regulate who stays, who leaves, who commits, who invests, who respects without raising your voice, without forcing anything, without confrontation. A man with standards controls his environment because his presence alone creates expectations. People rise to meet them or remove themselves. That is indirect control at its finest. 6. Control through withdrawal. Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. He who holds the power to leave holds the power to influence. When you walk away, people reevaluate their behavior. People regret their disrespect. People feel the loss. People chase your approval. People correct themselves. Withdrawal is the strongest correction mechanism because it shifts power instantly, not through aggression but through absence. The principle of Part 3. Control doesn't come from force. It comes from creating conditions where people naturally align themselves with you. Control the frame. Control your presence. Control your calm. Control your standards. Control your withdrawal. Do this, and you won't need to command anyone. They will command themselves. Part 4. The Machiavellian blueprint for becoming impossible to manipulate. Manipulation doesn't happen because you are weak. It happens because people correctly assess what you fear losing. Your kindness, your approval, your comfort, your attachments, your image of being good. To become unmanipulable, you must remove the levers people pull. Niccolò Machiavelli understood the root of manipulation long before psychology existed. He who depends on others is lost. Dependence creates vulnerability. Self-sufficiency creates immunity. Here is Machiavelli's blueprint, the transformation from a man who can be controlled to a man who cannot be touched. 1. Become emotionally asymmetric. Manipulators rely on emotional symmetry. You care. They exploit you, fear conflict. They provoke you, seek harmony. They destabilize you, respond quickly. They pressure you. You attach deeply. They withhold. Break the symmetry and manipulation dies. You become emotionally asymmetric when you respond slowly. Stay calm under pressure. Refuse to take the bait. Stop explaining yourself. Detach from their approval. Emotional asymmetry destabilizes manipulators because they lose the ability to predict your reactions, and unpredictability is lethal to their strategy. 2. Erase your buttons. The triggers people push manipulators. Study what angers you, what scares you, what flatters you, what guilt trips you, what pressures you, what insecurities you hide. These are your buttons. To become unmanipulable, you must stop oversharing, stop revealing insecurities, stop reacting emotionally, stop signaling desperation, stop giving verbal tells, stop rewarding their tactics. Remove your buttons and they have nothing left to press. 3. Learn to withstand discomfort. Without folding manipulators, rely on your inability to endure. Silence, tension, disapproval, disappointment, uncertainty. If you cannot tolerate these, you will submit to regain comfort. But when you develop the ability to sit calmly in discomfort, manipulators lose their most powerful tool. Machiavelli's logic: he who can endure pressure holds the advantage over him who cannot. Your tolerance for discomfort becomes your shield. 4. Stop explaining yourself. The more you explain yourself, the more data a manipulator gathers. The more you justify, the weaker you appear. The more you defend, the more guilty you seem. A Machiavellian man uses a different tool: strategic silence. Instead of explaining, he says, "That won't work for me. No, I've made my decision. This is my boundary." Silence creates authority. Authority kills manipulation. 5. Master the power of indifference. Manipulators thrive on your need for approval, validation, connection, reassurance, being liked. Indifference removes their leverage. Not apathy, not cynicism, but inner independence. When you no longer depend on someone's reaction, attention, affection, praise, they have nothing to manipulate. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He who needs nothing from others cannot be controlled by them. 6. Keep your intentions hidden. Manipulators attack where they can predict. So you must become strategically opaque. Share, less reveal. Less plan, quietly stay unpredictable, limit emotional transparency. When people cannot see your intentions, they cannot interfere with them. Mystery is not a performance. Mystery is a defense. 7. Build a life where nothing can be used against you. The final step is simple, brutal, liberating. Remove every dependency that gives manipulators leverage. Financial independence, emotional independence, social independence, physical discipline, internal clarity, moral self-sufficiency. A man with his own resources cannot be threatened with scarcity. A man who approves of himself cannot be guilt-tripped. A man who can walk away cannot be controlled. This is the Machiavellian ideal. A man whose stability does not come from others cannot be destabilized by them. The principle of Part 4. You do not become unmanipulable by becoming harder. You become unmanipulable by becoming unreachable to the tools manipulators use. You remove your buttons. You detach from approval. You sit in discomfort. You hide your intentions. You stop explaining yourself. You make your life self-sufficient. Then manipulation collapses, because influence only works on those who need something. The Machiavellian man does not need, therefore he cannot be controlled. Part 5. The invisible signals that make people instinctively follow you. Influence is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not forceful. Real influence is felt, not announced. And the men who possess it rarely have to demand anything. Instead, the world adjusts around them. Niccolò Machiavelli observed this truth centuries ago. Men honor those who appear strong. Not physically strong, but internally unshakable. Here are the invisible signals that trigger instinctive respect, obedience, and attraction without a single command. These are the signals that make people follow you even when they don't fully understand why. 1. the signal of emotional control. When others lose themselves in emotion and you remain calm, you instantly ascend to a higher psychological rank. People instinctively trust the calm man over the reactive man, the composed man over the overwhelmed man, the stable man over the unpredictable man. Your calmness says, "I am in control." And when you are in control of yourself, people believe you can control situations. This creates authority without effort. 2. The signal of selective attention. Most men give attention freely. Powerful men give it sparingly. Selective attention communicates value, discernment standards, confidence, social strength. When you look at someone, they feel chosen. When you don't, they wonder why. This creates gravitational pull. People follow the man who does not give them what they want instantly, because scarcity generates desire. 3. The signal of stillness. Stillness is one of the rarest and most influential traits in men. When you move slowly, purposefully, deliberately, you communicate self-trust. Stillness conveys certainty, inner power, fearlessness, composure, dominance without aggression. Chaotic men follow the still man because he represents something they lack: control over himself. Stillness is dominance in slow motion. 4. The signal of non-reactivity. Reactivity exposes weakness. Non-reactivity exposes strength. When you don't chase, don't over-explain, don't fight for approval, don't respond to bait, don't flinch at disrespect, people instinctively elevate you. They think, this man sees more than he shows. This man cannot be shaken. This man has nothing to prove. And that is the foundation of influence. 5. The signal of mystery. Machiavelli warned leaders, reveal your intentions slowly, if ever. Mystery is psychological gravity. People chase what they cannot fully understand. They lean in. They fill in the blanks. They project their fantasies and fears into the unknown parts of you. Mystery is not about hiding. It's about controlling what you reveal. Influence thrives in shadows. Revelation weakens leverage. 6. The signal of internal standards. When you live by your own standards, not society's, not other people's, you become a reference point. People follow men who don't compromise easily, don't break under pressure, don't negotiate their values, don't bend to please, don't tolerate disrespect. Why? Because consistency creates stability, and stability creates trust. Machiavelli knew that a ruler's strength comes from the clarity of his principles. Your standards become your kingdom's laws. People adapt to them. 7. The signal of strategic silence. Silence is influence. It makes people reveal themselves, question themselves, fear your judgment, wait for your reaction, seek your approval, wonder what you're thinking. Every second you remain silent, their imagination works in your favor. Words weaken power. Silence concentrates it. 8. The signal of walking away without hesitation. Nothing commands respect more than the ability to leave without drama. When you walk away from disrespect, manipulation, inconsistency, chaos, emotional games, you communicate, I am loyal but not dependent, kind but not blind, available but not owned. A man who can walk away is a man who cannot be controlled, and people instinctively follow the man they cannot break. The principle of Part 5. Influence is not an action, it's an aura. People follow you because of your calm, your scarcity, your silence, your discipline, your mystery, your standards, your ability to walk away. Influence is not something you do, it's something you become. It's the invisible crown worn by the man who understands himself better than anyone can understand him. Part 6. How Machiavelli used weakness as a weapon, and how you can too. Most people think influence comes only from strength. But Niccolò Machiavelli revealed a darker, more shocking truth. Weakness can be a weapon. if you control when and how you show it. Not all power looks like force. Sometimes the most effective form of control is letting others believe you are harmless until the moment it benefits you. Here are the Machiavellian ways weakness becomes strategic dominance. 1. Controlled weakness makes people underestimate you. When people underestimate you, they reveal their intentions, their strategies, their arrogance, their vulnerabilities. Underestimation is intelligence gathering. Machiavelli warned rulers, men injure more readily him whom they believe will not strike back. But here is the twist. When they believe you won't strike, they expose themselves completely. Your perceived weakness gives you X-ray vision into human nature. It's not weakness, it's camouflage. 2. Strategic vulnerability makes others drop their guard. People are more honest when they think you pose no threat. They reveal their fears, their ambitions, their betrayals, their manipulation tactics, their real loyalties. Machiavelli used this constantly. Leaders confided in him because he appeared gentle, neutral, harmless. And then he used those revelations to shape politics for decades. Your softness can extract truth that brute force never could. 3. Appearing less capable makes people overplay their hand. When someone thinks they're smarter than you, stronger than you, or more experienced than you, they become careless. They stop hiding their tactics. They stop masking their motives. They stop controlling their impulses. This is when they make fatal mistakes. Machiavelli relied on this dynamic. Let the enemy feel superior, and they will destroy themselves. Your apparent weakness creates their real weakness. 4. Feigned confusion forces others to reveal their strategy. This is a classic Machiavellian technique. When you pretend not to understand, people start explaining more. They expose their reasoning. They justify their actions. They reveal their emotional triggers. They show their hidden expectations. Feigning confusion is psychological judo. You appear slow, but you make them speak faster than they should. 5. Letting others think they control you gives you leverage. People don't attack what they believe they control. They attack what they fear. So if they think you depend on them, you admire them. You don't notice their manipulation. You're harmless. You're predictable. They relax. And in their relaxation, they reveal everything. This gives you the future leverage to shift dynamics, set boundaries, withdraw. Suddenly reverse expectations, take control. Cleanly, influence doesn't always start with dominance. Sometimes it starts with strategic passivity. 6. Weakness creates a psychological debt you can later collect. When you appear humble, quiet, or submissive, people are more likely to offer help, lower their guard, underestimate your ambition, give you grace, show generosity, reveal their methods, and every kindness they give you creates an invisible psychological debt. Later, when you assert yourself, they comply because they feel they owe you empathy. Weakness earns invisible credit that strength never could. 7. Selective humility makes your power more devastating when revealed. Nothing is more frightening than a man who appeared harmless, standing up with quiet, immovable authority. The contrast is devastating. Your shift from softness to steel hits 10 times harder because no one expected it. This is why Machiavelli advised, a prince must know how to disguise his nature, not to deceive for cruelty, but to maximize impact. Your power becomes legendary because it was once hidden. The principle of Part 6, weakness is not always weakness. It is a mirror you hold up to the world to expose true intentions. True Machiavellian power is not constant aggression. It is precision, timing, and emotional intelligence. You use weakness to extract information, to gain trust, to disarm enemies, to gather leverage, to remain underestimated, to reveal hidden motives. Then, You reveal your strength only when it matters. Influence is not about always being powerful. It is about choosing when to be powerful. That is the Machiavellian art. Part 7. The social hierarchy you must master to influence. Most men believe influence comes from charisma or intelligence. They're wrong. Influence comes from your position in the hierarchy. A hierarchy that exists in every room, every relationship, every group, every interaction. You don't choose the hierarchy. You only choose whether you understand it or get crushed by it. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this truth centuries before modern psychology. He who does not recognize power relations lives at the mercy of those who do. This is the hierarchy you must master if you want to influence anyone, subtly, silently, and effectively. 1. Level 1. The dominant people follow the dominant not because he demands power, but because he radiates it. The dominant man has internal stability, emotional neutrality, strategic patience, clear boundaries, the ability to impose consequences. He doesn't chase, he doesn't plead, he doesn't justify. He influences because he holds psychological ground that others cannot shake. This is the top of the hierarchy. 2. Level 2. The respected. This man may not dominate the room, but he commands respect through consistency, competence, integrity, discipline, reliability. People don't fear him, they trust him. Trust is influence, because once people trust your judgment, they accept your guidance automatically. 3. Level 3. The useful. A man who is not dominant or respected can still hold influence by being valuable. People depend on him because he can solve problems, provide resources, offer knowledge, stabilize chaos. Machiavelli often advised rulers to keep such men close because usefulness is its own form of leverage. But here is the trap. If you stay in this tier too long, you become a servant instead of a strategist. Value is only influence when you control access to it. 4. Level 4. The pliable. This is the man others use. He wants peace, approval, acceptance, belonging, so he bends. This man has no influence because he prioritizes harmony over hierarchy. He avoids conflict, so conflict devours him. Machiavelli would call him a man ruled by those he tries to serve. 5. Level 5. The invisible. This is the lowest tier, the man no one notices. He has no standards, no presence, no voice, no aura, no boundaries. He neither threatens nor attracts. He barely exists socially. This man has zero influence because influence requires visibility, and invisibility is social death. The shift you must make. Most men live between tiers 3 to 5. Useful, pliable, invisible. But influence requires climbing upward toward tiers 2 and 1. Respected, dominant. Here's how. Move from invisible, pliable. Stop being neutral. Express small boundaries. Speak with intention, not filler. Exist on purpose. Visibility is the first step toward influence. Move from pliable, useful. Stop chasing approval. Start building value, skills, insights, solutions. Become someone people require, not someone they pity. Usefulness gives you leverage. Move from useful to respected. Stop giving value freely. Start controlling access. Demand reciprocation. Develop unbreakable standards. Respect grows from disciplined scarcity. Move from respected, dominant master. Silence, self-control. Emotional distance, calm, leadership. The ability to walk away. Dominance is not aggression. It is the aura of a man who cannot be manipulated, moved, or shaken. This is the tier where influence becomes effortless. The principle of Part 7, influence, is hierarchical. To influence others, you must climb the internal ladder of visibility, value, respect, authority. And once you reach the top, you no longer persuade people. They instinctively align themselves with you because hierarchy is coded into human psychology. People follow the man whose presence orders the room, not the man who asks for it. Part 8. The Machiavellian art of planting ideas. So subtly they believe it's their own, most people try to influence by speaking. They plead, explain, convince, debate. But the real masters of influence, the ones who shape kings, leaders, organizations, and societies, do it without raising their voice. They make you believe the idea was yours. This is not manipulation. This is psychological strategy defined centuries ago by Niccolò Machiavelli, who wrote, "Men are more committed to an idea when they believe they discovered it themselves." This is the secret, and here are the methods. 1. The seed method. Plant the concept, withdraw, and let them grow it. You never force the idea. You suggest the beginning of it. Then you retreat. You let their pride and their imagination finish the rest. Example, instead of saying, "You should take leadership," you say, "You already do what leaders do." It's interesting how people naturally follow you. You walk away. They begin thinking, "Maybe I am a leader. Maybe I should step forward." It becomes their idea. This is influence without pressure. It is leadership without demand. 2. The mirror strategy. Reflect their thoughts. Back at them, people accept ideas that resemble their own thinking. So you don't introduce something alien. You mirror what they already believe, and then gently extend it by 5 to 10%. Example, if someone says, "I hate how people waste time," you reply, "Exactly. That's why only disciplined people ever rise above the crowd." They think you're simply agreeing, but you're actually shaping their worldview. When someone feels heard, they become open to being led. 3. The choice illusion. Let them pick the decision you already chose. Humans crave autonomy. They resist direct orders, but they accept decisions when they feel they had a say. So you present two paths, one that leads to your intended outcome and one that is obviously inferior. Example, you can start this project now and gain the advantage, or wait and let someone else take the opportunity. They choose the first option, not because you forced them, but because you framed the alternatives. This method works in negotiations, relationships, leadership, everywhere. The ego trigger. Tie the idea to their identity. People act based on who they believe they are. If you want someone to support an idea, don't appeal to logic, appeal to identity. Example, you're someone who values strength and clarity. This approach reflects exactly that. Suddenly, the idea becomes a reflection of themselves. Rejecting it would mean rejecting their own self-image. Ego is the most powerful lever you can pull, when you pull it subtly. 5. The whisper technique. Lower your voice to increase their thought. Influence is not volume. Influence is intimacy. Lowering your voice forces people to lean in, listen closer, internalize your words. Quiet ideas penetrate deeper than loud orders. This is why kings listen to their advisors in private chambers, not public halls. The whisper shapes the mind more than the command. 6. The timing principle. Speak only when the mind is open. An idea delivered at the wrong time is ignored. An idea delivered at the right moment becomes irresistible. Timing is everything. After a failure, after a win, during uncertainty, in moments of clarity when emotions shift. Influence is 20% words, 80% moment. As Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune favors the strategist who acts when the world is slightly unbalanced. People are most influenceable at the edge of change." 7. The disappearing hand. Never take credit. Here is the highest level of influence. You do not receive credit. You do not reveal your role. You let them shine. Because once they believe, "This idea was mine," your influence becomes permanent. This is the method of kings' advisors, political architects, quiet power brokers. The loud influencer gets followers. The silent one gets kingdoms. Niccolò Machiavelli understood, the most effective power is the one unseen. When your hand disappears, your influence becomes unstoppable. Part 9. The most dangerous form of influence. Making people need you without realizing it. Influence isn't about being liked. It isn't about being admired. It isn't even about being respected. The highest form of influence is dependence. When a person can't function, decide, or move forward without your presence, your guidance, or your approval, yet believes it was their choice. This is the form of power that lasts. This is the influence that cannot be broken. And this is exactly what Niccolò Machiavelli hinted at when he wrote, "Men should either be treated kindly or destroyed." Why? Because those who depend on you cannot betray you, and those who don't depend on you eventually will. Dependence removes betrayal from the equation. But here is the lesson. You never force dependence. You engineer it. 1. Make yourself the source of clarity. People fear uncertainty more than anything else. So when you become the calm in their chaos, the voice in their confusion, the structure in their disorder, you become indispensable. They return to you not because they must, but because the alternative is anxiety. This is Machiavellian influence at its purest. You become the place where their mind rests. 2. Become the interpreter of their reality. Most people don't know what they feel or why they feel it. If you can articulate their emotions better than they can, something powerful happens. They begin using your words to understand their world. This creates a psychological loop where your interpretations equals their beliefs, your language equals their thinking, your perspective equals their framework. This is how advisors controlled kings and how thinkers shaped empires. You don't control their actions, you control their meaning, and meaning controls everything. 3. Give them what they lack, then limit access. People are drawn to those who fill their voids. Insecure people seek validation. Confused people seek direction. Weak people seek strength. Chaotic people seek structure. Lonely people seek presence. You give them a taste of what they crave. Then control the frequency. This creates an emotional economy where you hold the currency. Scarcity amplifies value, distance amplifies desire, and limited access amplifies power. As Machiavelli implied, benefits lose their influence when given too freely. 4. Become the one who makes their life easier. People don't follow the strongest leader, they follow the leader who removes their burdens. When someone associates you with reduced stress, simplified decisions, clearer direction, better outcomes, you become woven into the architecture of their life. Influence is not always dominance. Sometimes it is convenience. The mind clings to what lightens its load. 5. Make them believe they chose you. This is the pinnacle. The moment someone says, "I just trust you for some reason. You understand me better than anyone. I feel grounded when I talk to you." They have already surrendered psychological ground. But here is the key. They must believe this happened naturally, not because you engineered it, but because you are simply the one who fits. When people think they discovered you, they never question you. Dependence forged by self-deception is the strongest form of influence on earth. The final principle. True influence is not domination, it's architecture. You don't push people. You shape the environment they walk through. You don't demand loyalty. You create the conditions where loyalty is the easiest path. You don't trap people. You let them walk into a reality where leaving feels impossible. As Niccolò Machiavelli taught the princes of Florence, it is better to be the one who men need than the one who needs men. When you master this level of influence, You no longer fight for power. Power gravitates toward you.